Hi everybody, it's Chris here and welcome to another video. I haven't done one of these actually for ages, and the reason for that is not bought very much actually. I have been looking, maybe not with the fervour of recent years, but I just haven't found anything. And also I've purged quite a few albums from my collection recently, and that's created a bit of space which has made looking through the collection much easier. But probably like lots of you, I've got a big collection, about 2,500 albums. And if I'm really honest, I don't play most of them. So it seems daft to continually add more and more stuff that is unlikely to be played beyond the first time you get it. So I've got a few albums to share with you, about 6 albums, stuff I've picked up over the last month, and an equal number of CDs. So let me know what you think in the comments below. The first up is this album, Wishbone Ash, There's the Rub, from '74 on MCA Records. I picked this up today in a record shop in Frome in Somerset called Raves from the Graves, which is really good. This is, I think this is about the 5th or 6th album by Wishbone Ash, but it's the first one to feature a guy called Laurie Wisefield. And with his arrival, there's been very much a change in sound. So gone are the kind of almost folky, proggy kind of feel to things like Argus and Wishbone Ash and Pilgrimage. And that's replaced with a kind of a much more polished, well-produced kind of sound. And the reason for that may well be this fella here. Now, I don't know how you pronounce his name actually. Bill Simic? I don't know, Simic? He was the guy who produced Hotel California by the Eagles. And so you end up with a kind of a better produced but a certain sound to it. It's much more West Coasty actually than previous efforts. So Laurie Wisefield, who replaced Ted Turner, really good acquisition to the band, but certainly a change in emphasis. But a really nice album. Features a couple of really classic Wishbone Ash songs, including Persephone, which is I think is a real classic Wishbone Ash song actually. And the song that closes the album, which is an instrumental called FUBB, which I think is an acronym for Fucked Up Beyond Belief, is really nice. It still retains that dual guitar sound that Wishbone Ash were pretty famous for, and it builds up and up and up, so instrumentally really good. Also today from Raves from the Graves, I bought a bootleg. Now, I don't usually buy bootlegs because they're usually not great, and unfortunately this one isn't either. But I'm a collector of Deep Purple, and this is a bootleg from '84 called Highway Stars, and I thought this was one of the better ones, and obviously I'm wrong. It came out of Holland in '85. It's recorded in November '84. It's got all the classic tracks on it and a few others. It's recorded around about the reunion time of '84. But the sound is just very muddy. It's a double album, so you get quite a lot for your money, but it's just not good enough sound-wise. And we've been sport with Deep Purple over the years and well-produced live albums, so it's a real shame. But as a collector, yeah, I'll slide that in with the others. Next up is an album by a band that until this point I didn't have anything by them actually, and the band is called Chicken Shack, and this is Imagination Lady on Durham Records. This is from 1971, features the talents of Stan Webb, I guess he's the fella in the middle there. A really nice slice of British blues rock actually. The first side, Crime Won't Help You Now, which sounds a little bit like 10 years after actually. Daughter of the Hillside, If I Were a Carpenter, Going Down, which is a Don Nicks song, good side. Side 2, Poor Boy, good song, lots of Hendrixy wah-wah guitar. And then we've got a song called Telling Your Fortune, which features a bloody drum solo. I mean, round about this time, I know that Cream did it on Toad, and I think 10 years after did it as well. What is the point of a drum solo? Even on a live album, the greatest album of all time, made in Japan by Deep Purple, is spoilt by The Mule, which has got a drum solo on it. But it's a live album, so I kind of can forgive them a little bit. But on a studio album, it's unforgivable. And it spoils what is actually a really tidy little album. And it's not just a short drum solo, it's a fairly long one. But anyway, there you go. Next up is an album that probably most of you watching this have. I didn't until now, actually. And I don't know why, because it's one of their classics. If not one of their best albums, Let It Bleed, Rolling Stones. This is a German copy. Doesn't come with a poster, sadly. But obviously Midnight Rambler, Gimme Shelter, Can't Always Get What You Want. Classic album by them. And I think it's up there with sort of Sticky Fingers and Exile on Main Street as being one of their best. So pleased to add that to the collection. Next up is an album which is a best of. It features a singer who sadly passed away recently actually, It's on Verve Records. Astrud Gilberto, the best of. Nice track listing. Some really good songs on it, actually. She has an incredibly distinctive voice. It's not a brilliant voice, but it's incredibly gentle and very distinctive. Obviously, a girl from Ipanema is on here. She was the singer on that. Massive hit. It's also got Stay, which is a song that opens the album Beach Samba, which opens with the lyric of "Stay and we'll make sex with music," which is one hell of an invitation, really. But really nice album, just for £4. Some great songs, beautiful little Brazilian vibe to it. Next up is a Deep Purple album. It's their second album, Book of Taliesin. It's the kind of pre-Ian Gillan, Roger Glover era, so Mark 1 Deep Purple. And this is from '68, and you're probably thinking, Chris, you've already got that album. Yes, I have got this album already. This is probably the 4th or 5th time that I've bought this album, actually, but this is different because this album is a first press, and I have a first press of every, and you can probably just see the line of 4 bits of text there. That signals it's a first press. I have a first press of all Deep Purple albums now, so I'm really pleased to add that to the collection, and it wasn't super expensive, bearing in mind that in Discogs and on Record Collector it's got a very, very big price, but it was a really good price, so happy to pick that up. Next is an album which surprised me on actually how good it was. So this is a guy, super talented musician actually, wonderful guitarist, played in the best version of the Crusaders, and that guy is Larry Carlton. Now, he's a bit of a smooth jazz guy, if I'm really honest, This is live though, and very, very different to his studio output. So this is called Mr. 335 live in Japan. 335 is the hollow body Gibson guitar that he plays and gives him that very, very distinctive sound. And on this album, it's smooth in places, of course, but it's also got times where he really, really lets rip, actually. So side 2, Rio Samba, nearly 12 minutes, great song. And the song that closes the album called Pointed Up, which is 8 minutes, he really lets rip on that. And, this guy is a really seriously talented musician, and he has surrounded himself with equally talented musicians. So it's a beautifully recorded album, actually, as well. So tremendous. Mr. 335, live in Japan, Larry Carlton. So I've got some CDs as well to show you. So I'm going to see Glenn Hughes in Frome in Somerset in October. And I've just been delving into his back catalogue and finding kind of albums by him that kind of passed me by when they were first released. And so I bought a few more recently. And these are part of the Purple Records reissues, which are really interesting because they have the original album plus a load of bonus tracks as well, often live stuff, which really does interest me, especially Glenn Hughes doing the Deep Purple stuff. So Glenn Hughes was the bass player and singer in the Mark III version of it, the Burn Stormbringer Come Taste the Band, which was Mark IV, but the Come Taste the Band, Burn Stormbringer version of the band. An amazing singer. I think sometimes the thing that he's guilty of is over singing, but he puts to shame people of a similar age to him. He's got a wonderful, wonderful voice. So this is the first one anyway. This is Phil. This is from 1995. Not a bad album, but I got it really for the bonus tracks. There's some unplugged stuff here, plus a version of Holy Man, which is a song that Purple did on the album Stormbringer. And it's also got some live stuff recorded in Europe as well. So that was really interesting pickup. The following year, and the thing about Glenn Hughes is that he did a solo album in '77 and then didn't do anything until an album called LA Blues, which was about '91. He missed out the '80s completely because he was just completely wasted, I think. And then suddenly he produced a lot of albums. Now, the issue with producing a lot of albums is that the quality sometimes drop, and I think that's certainly the case with lots of Glenn Hughes stuff. So Feel is okay, but this is another one as part of the Purple Records reissues. This is called Addiction, and that's fairly poignant. So he's cut his hair. It's that kind of glum cover, and songs about his addiction. So Death of Me, Addiction, Talk About It, I'm Not Your Slave. All songs which talk about the anguish and the troubles that he's been through in his life. I'm really pleased he's come out the other side, because this guy is a seriously good singer. Sometimes, though, I said, he does over-sing, and this is a good example possibly where he does over-sing. So this is from '98, a tribute concert to the long-departed Tommy Bolin, who was in Mark IV Purple with Glenn Hughes. Glenn Hughes, obviously, he plays bass on here on a few of the songs, but sings on the songs as well. Now, Tommy Bolin didn't have an amazing voice. He had quite a gentle voice, but it just seemed in keeping with the songs. And I think some of the Tommy Bolin songs that Glenn Hughes sings on here, he kind of over-sings them, really. I mean, they're good, but they're not as good as the originals. But it's nice to hear a homage to a great talent such as Tommy Bolin. Next up, again, still part of the Purple reissue series, is Songs in the Key of Rock. So a play on the songs of in the Key of Life. Stevie Wonder was one of Glenn Hughes's absolute idols. This is a really good album, really well produced, some really good rocky songs, things like Standing on the Rock, proper good rock songs actually. There's a song called Higher Places, which is a kind of a tribute to John Bonham, in fact. This is a really, really nice album, actually. Again, really well produced. It's got a nice bonus CD as well, a couple of CDs rather, with some live stuff, including some Purple songs, which makes it super interesting for me. But really nice addition to the collection, as is this one. So this is recorded at pretty much the same time. And this has got a much better recording of the live stuff that he did at this time than is actually on this one. And this is called Soulfully in the City of Angels. So this features actually Chad Smith, the Red Hot Chili Peppers drummer. He's on here. Nice little package and a really good album. So we get two CDs here with stuff from previous albums, including some of the stuff that he did with Trapeze. It's also got some stuff that he did with Hughes Thrall and of course with Deep Purple, but really, really nice album, tremendous sound to it. And the last one is another Glenn Hughes related CD. This is on, I don't know who brought this out actually, it came out in 2020 by a band called Phenomena. Now Phenomena were kind of like a project really. The brainchild of a guy called Mel Galley, who played in Trapeze with Glenn Hughes. He also played in a version of Whitesnake as well. And these songs on here are all the songs that the Phenomena project did that featured Glenn Hughes on vocals. Still the Night is a song that Glenn Hughes recorded with the intention of releasing it with Hughes Thrall, but never did. And that features on here. But Hell on Wheels, Twilight Zone, Hearts on Fire, Dance with the Devil, really, really good songs. Quite 80s sounding, but a really, really good album. That's from 2020. So there you go. There's the albums and CDs I picked up recently. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sure I'll be back sometime in the next month or so with another video. Cheers, take care.